Hello everyone, and welcome to a discussion brought to you by ET Brand Equity and Sharpcell, enabling phygital experiences, improving last mile with AI experiences. Today we are going to talk about how brands can enable the last mile customer experiences. It's important because when a customer walks into a shop or in a General Mart store, it is important for him to have a great experience before that walk-in gets into a conversion. So my esteemed guests for today are Mr. Akhil Sethi, Head of Digital Marketing, Herman International Private Limited. Welcome, Akhil. My next guest for the day is Ms. Anmol Reen Jalota, Head of Digital Enabling Function, Signify Greater India. Welcome, Anmol. And my last guest for the day is Mr. Arun Subramaniam, Co-founder, Sharpcell. Thank you everyone for taking out time today and joining for this discussion. Anmol, I'll begin with you first. We are talking about AI, and AI has become a buzzword. How do you think AI can help you in driving better last mile customer experiences?
Thank you for the question. So, and I think you started right. You started right by saying that AI is a buzzword. Now, how do we convert this buzzword into something which is a lot more meaningful, right? And I think the question is very pertinent. AI starts not at the last mile level. It starts at the top level, where you start thinking, what can you do to make lives easier for everybody downstream, right? Now, I think your question is right from the management layer to when it gets to the people who are actually selling on the ground, how does it get better? If you look at my perspective, when I come from a digital background, I see AI, artificial intelligence is something that will help us twofold. One is, of course, mimic a lot of activities that we would, as a human, we would do. It will help us mimic a lot of those activities, reduce inefficiencies, make them, reduce time for us. But then also, artificial intelligence in itself means that you bring in a lot of intelligence that, as a person, maybe would take me a lot longer to bring in. So that is what the programming or the systems would do for me. At the ground level, what do these people need? These people need to be able to sell their product better, right? They should be able to know what are the special points about the project or the product. How do you sell it to the customer? Now, what do I sell to you? Or what do I sell to Akhil? I think that is what AI helps me in identifying, where it will help me identify the past customer purchases, what is their financial background, their affluency. They live in a certain geographical region. Would you want a fan? Would you not want a fan? Simple as that, right? So I think that is one way where we look at analytics, data, just trying to understand, okay, what should I sell to you? What should my pitch look like? I think that is where artificial intelligence could play a major role, and it is playing a major role today. We've been using, and I'll take another example, right? So when we are doing some lighting design now, like this area, right? You have offices, you have big spaces, and people go and sell them lights, but then they don't know which is the best lighting placement, right? So we bring in something called an agentic AI lighting designer, which could possibly tell you, okay, this is how your lights should be placed. So I think it's a tool, it's a mechanism. It's not just a tool, it's a mechanism that can help you know more about your customer, know more about the product, and to be able to sell it better. I think that's what AI brings to the table. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, interesting. Let's understand from Akhil, what does he think about, how does it help you, drive a better understanding between the brand and the customer via the last mile agent who is representing your brand?
So I'll just break down this whole question in 2-3 parts. Firstly, I think in any enterprise for that matter, it has different departments. Be it a product department or a marketing department, which I am part of. Then there is a sales department. Then also there is a customer support department. What we have seen in the past is that AI has it's increasing at a very rapid rate in each and every department. If I have to talk about customer support and marketing, which I kind of lead that part. In customer support, what we do is that we kind of track the conversations that are happening on social media space and also the offline space through different tools that we have. We kind of do a kind of a sentiment analysis that which product has been faring well, the ratings and reviews basis that. And also in terms of the marketing, we not only the AI helps in reaching out to a particular targeting cohort from the engagement perspective, but also from the conversions or the sellout perspective. Yeah. So we have been working very closely with the likes of Amazon and Flipkart both. We have been using the AI tools which they have also suggested to us. Even the media team which we worked with, they have also kind of suggested various tools which kind of Google and Meta also gives us. So I'll be able to share more details in the subsequent conversation. But I do feel that each and every department of ours in Harman, they do use AI in a very efficient and effective manner, and this will increase in the coming future.
Absolutely, absolutely. Arun, you work with a lot of brands. You help them enable better last mile customer experiences by helping them train the last mile customer agents. How do you think AI is enabling the last mile representatives for brands?
So one of the biggest issues that you have at the last mile is every conversation is absolutely new. So no two conversations are alike. And one of the biggest issues, let's say vis-a-vis a marketing and sales, is marketing. You have a lot more data or assumptions about a customer. And while it might seem counterintuitive, your salesperson has way less information about somebody who's walking in than a marketing person, even at an aggregate level. And the easier thing to say is to say, but of course, boss, he's coming there or she's coming there. Why don't you kind of get this info? It's not easy because a lot of our customers through, before talking about AI, one of the things that a lot of our customers used to ask of us is to say, hum need analysis tool banayenge, so that I'll get you the right tool. And across, let's say, tens of features that are rolled out for a client, need analysis is where we'll spend the most time, and need analysis is where what gets used the least. Why? Because on the field, your seller, for the most part, does not have the, I'm using the word aukat, to ask customers all those questions. Because when somebody is walking in, you can't say, sir, tell me what is your, budget is still okay because, I can show you products, but question is कि हाँ अपने family में कितने लोग हैं, salary bracket क्या है, and then you've lost it there. So while so the question comes in saying, how can you kind of help this seller out there with AI without asking for too much information from them? So that's where we look at AI in two pieces. So first is, can I kind of use AI to give this seller directly and say, aap use karo, where, just like how a customer might ask questions on ChatGPT, can I give them a ChatGPT-esque tool that they can use? Answer is yes, but a customer would not appreciate it. And what people really want is, at the time of selling, can I get some help? Okay. So the other way we look at it is, say, boss, how can I use AI when you're not in front of the customer? Which means that can I kind of use AIs to play the role of a customer? Because that is like super easy, where I'll say, boss, we'll do something called role plays, where I'm going to, send 20 customers down to you. Each customer will have a different requirement. Each customer will have a different, personality. Each customer will have a different approach. Some customer might be very nice and listen to you. Some customer will say, boss, chup, you're bullshitting. Yaar, aapko kuch samajh mein nahi aa raha hai. So that is one part. And the second thing we realized is we can use AI to generate a lot of content, which companies use today. But given that it is sales and it is not internal communication, there's always this question on where do you draw the line between what is compliant and what is quick and easy. And because it's going out to customers, compliance suddenly comes in, and I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen it more than anybody. The moment compliance comes in, then it's like everybody, it's like principal coming into the room. Everybody keeps quiet. You want to listen to what they're saying, and So for us, we say now, how can we use AI to enable the internal enablement teams and digital teams, so that at least the maker part is done by the AI. You do the checker part, compliance part, and you do it. So those are, and maybe, we see AI kind of, can I give AI into the hands of the seller today? Not sure. Can I do it probably in a year's time? Maybe yes. So our role of AI is to say, how are we going to enable them to do it and not really help them sell at the point of sale is something that we are.
Very interesting point, Arun, you actually brought in. Can I give AI in the hands of the seller? What do you think about it, Anmol?
So I think I fully agree to what you're saying, and just building on what he said. Like, and I'll go back to the same thing. When we keep saying AI, can I give AI to the seller? What does that actually mean? It actually means, can I give them some insights that they can utilize? AI is what? Artificial intelligence, guys. It's intelligence. It's insights at the end of the day, right? You have to, and like he said, you start at the top. What can I do better? Can I get better products? That's the first thing. What makes my seller confident is to have products that are not there in the market, right? So my innovation, if I can use AI to drive innovation, nothing like it. The other thing I think we've all spoken about is personalization, hyper personalization, right? We want to say, okay, we are going to make sure that we know the audience, we know what we want to talk about. But just me knowing, like he said, somebody walks in, I will never know what this person, has in his mind. But because I've been given some insights, okay, this is a kind of a community which is well to do, they kind of look at this kind of thing, maybe I carry that insight with me. So for me, I think it's very important for us to know, what do we actually give to the person in the name of an AI? It's just insights, things, tools. For a salesperson, I think it's too early to give him something. But yes, of course, I tell them, I can give you a tab, you look at a tab, you can get some insights quickly there, and you can take a call. But I think that's what it is. Eventually, it's all about customizations, it's all about personalization, and it has to start at the top. If you ask me, I need to bring it to every department, like you said, not just digital, my marketing, my innovation, R&D, everything has to have some form of artificial intelligence creeping in, then taking a strong foothold. That will creep down to your salesman. Then he gets to know, okay, this is what my team is doing. And you should be able to give him the better insights to be able to sell better.
What do you think, Akhil? I mean, like, it is difficult to, give AI in the hands of seller and even train them, to analyze those insights, before a customer walks in that, I am from XYZ place, I am from XYZ sales bracket, this is a particular region where my store is. So my expectation is that, the XYZ salary bracket people would be visiting the store, and based on those insights, you create that page. You say that tailor make that page, and then engage with that customer, just to ensure that his experience is seamless around what he has come up with in the mind while visiting the store.
So I completely agree with what Anmol mentioned, and also Arun mentioned some time back. So basically, AI is nothing but it's a kind of a tool or a technology where you empower your salespeople or probably the pre-sales people. How do you do that? If I have to talk about my own organization, what we do is that at JBL or at Harman, we have different product categories. We have portable speakers, we have earbuds, we have headphones, we have party boxes, and we have sound bars also. Right. So what we do is that with the help of some tools like Salesforce and Power BI, we kind of collect the data at a particular place and then kind of clean the data in terms of whatever junk that is coming also. And then the whole processing of the data comes on in terms of which product is getting sold more, which regions are performing or which markets are performing better. And then with those insights in terms of the sales objectives and also the inventory management data that we have, what we do is that probably we power sales people also, and we power the supply and logistics people also. So for every organization, and she would also agree with me, every organization has a target to drive more revenue, more sell to try and sell more products.
That's
as
like
much
the
possible.
underlining principle of every boardroom meeting.
Yeah. So in my opinion, AI is nothing but it's a kind of a technology which kind of empowers the salespeople or the last mile sellers to kind of sell your product in the market. Yeah.
Arun, what do you think? Like you mentioned that AI is difficult. Giving it in the hands of seller. Both Anmol and both Akhil have their diverse views on it. I want to understand one thing. You work with a lot of brands, and you train a lot of last mile customer representatives. How difficult it is to train them first, and because the attrition rate is extremely high at that level, and how AI is helping you in making their training better so that it's become more adaptive, immersive, as well as they're able to more adhere to the entire training part.
So I'll break this into two parts. So first is, so we are let's say, part of a digital ecosystem, and Sharpsell is a digital tool in the hands. Sometimes it's called Sharpsell white labeled, whatnot. But so first is we said you can't kind of make somebody. I can't have a training program to have people get trained on Sharpsell, which means people should open it and they should know what it is. So how easy am I making it for them to use it, and how easy am I making it for different sellers to use what they want? Because let's say if all of us are selling the same product, the way I sell would be different from the way you would sell is different from the way each of you would sell. So that one thing that we've realized is you can't mandate that यार आपको ऐसा ही बेचना पड़ेगा. Because people, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody is seen success doing whatever they've done at some level. So they'll say, no, boss, this is all bullshit. I've done it the other way and it works. And and the moment you get into that change management, you have lost the battle, because you're not here to drive change management. You're here to make this person get their number. If you do it X way, Y way, so that is one important baseline for us, that boss, don't try to get everybody aligned on doing it one way. There's never a one way. Second is, second part of that, to kind of add to what Alma was saying, is we call it search versus discoverability. So today, the problem that I see is, while AI is become very, and what we call AI is, let's say, ChatGPT, we'll call it that. It's a chat-based AI tool, because AI has existed before this also in multiple other forms. It's become democratized. While it is available to everybody, it is still a geek's tool. And I'm going to put, let's say, all of us in the geek bucket, because we are curious people. You will go know what to ask. And of course, if you ask the right questions, ChatGPT may give you the right answers. But the expectation that, if I give the same thing to somebody on the field, they will ask the right questions, for us is not proved right. Because we've had some of our customers where, they had the same thing saying, you're kind of helping with sales pitch and all, I'll kind of create a tool myself. And after 2 months, the usage was like 0.05%. Why is that? Because on the field, again, this is a behavioral thing, and question is, how do you add digital tools work with actual behavior of people? Is people can't ask the right questions. So I would, as a seller, I would rather click 3 buttons to, and have a predictable response, which I can use, rather than ask questions, because that in itself is a skill. So our objective is to say, was how do I, de-geekify this and give it in a way that somebody will use it. Maybe you power it by AI behind, but can somebody use it? And the third part is, given all this, how can I use this in training people? Because I think one of the biggest issues that we try to solve for with most of our clients is, people there's a large floating population, and you have, a lot of products. For example, I think we were talking, I think you would have 3,000 SKUs, Signify would have 10,000 plus SKUs. So question is, people don't know, there's no way they're even knowing all the categories or product lines you're selling, leave alone SKUs. But your customer doesn't care, they'll give you that one opportunity. Are you able to impress on them? So that's where we look at these role plays, where we kind of have these role plays reflect what the organization wants to communicate. So the question is, it's like the dream of most sales teams would be to say, boss, if only I knew what my seller was speaking, it will be amazing. And the only way you can do it is you be there physically, or you have somebody shadow them, and it's like the observer effect. The moment somebody is sitting there, of course, the conversation is very different. So here we say, as an organization, can I use AI to really understand what my customer is hearing? And give feedback the right way. Because the other thing about training also is, for example, if I were to come and, tell Akhil, say, Akhil, let me tell you the basics of speakers. There is something called, typically there is a tweeter, there is a woofer. He'd be like, boss, buzz off. Don't tell me what speaker is. But there could be somebody else who doesn't know the basics of speaker, because let's say they've sold TVs before, and for them it's LED, LCD. So the problem with the non-AI based learning is also that your baselines are different, which means you can't, and when you're driving some of these programs en masse, which you can't kind of personalize it together. So the idea of using AI for us is that you don't expect people to start at the same base level, and you give them, let's say if I'm on a scale of 10, let's say I'm at 1, she's at 3, he's at 5 or at 7, then the feedback for Arun would be to say, boss, how do you move from 1 to 3 based on what you tell me? And for you, it will be to say, Devesh, how can you move from 7 to 9? Because, you've already covered the base. So I'm not going to give you feedback on base, but to Arun, it says, Bhaiya, you've got the basic product information wrong. So this I can do using AI, because, you can call it personalized, etc. But I'm basically able to drive specific actionables based on what your conversation is. So that to us is something that is a very good application that we see. And the idea also is to make this aligned to what the organization wants to communicate, because the sharp sells model, that's again a realization we've had. Nobody cares about what sharp sells way of selling is. I mean, so if I were to go to Signify, I'll say, boss, what do you want to communicate? What products and what is the pitch there? Let's say even at JBL, was the way you pitch a JBL is different from the way you pitch a Harman. So question is, are we aligning our sales team to that standard that each organization has set? So AI is helping us drive that, enforce that easily. Because manually, if we were to do it with trainers, etc., there's like too many variations coming in.
No, that's pretty interesting point. I think let's explore. I mean, like, what are some of the on-ground challenges that both Akhil and Anmol faces, while working with the customer representatives at the ground. Anmol, let's begin with you first. Maybe we can find some solutions with.
Building on what you said, Arun, and I think I buy everything that you just said. It is more about, and when we are sitting here, it's easier for us to imagine what their problems would be. But trust me, when you're on the ground, and I'll start, because I came to know about this from a digital perspective, let's put it that way, and then you realize what their problems were. So we brought in a couple of tools, right? We said we will have a tool for the distributors. We will have some tool for the retailers. We're going to have some tool for our sales reps. Now, what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to open their tabs. They're supposed to key in their orders, which then go to, tally something, and you get all your orders in your SAP at the end of the day, right? And then you get invoiced and all of it. Biggest problem, people are not entering their data. Kyun nahi kar rahe? There's a tool, we've enabled you. And then we go to the next step and we say, oh, we want to run insights on their data. And we realize there is no data, or the data is incorrect. People did not know how to use the data or the tool, or they were not using it properly enough. So for me to get insights doesn't work. So when I start taking a step towards AI, I'm 2 steps back, understanding that AI par jaane ke liye mere, my base is not there.
Backend has to be right.
Exactly. So that's when you start realizing and you say, okay, what do I do now? Do I make people understand that this tool is going to make their lives easier? Of course, it's going to make my life easier, 100%. But it's going to make your life easier. वो कहते हैं, make a tool जहाँ मुझे ना SKU easily मिल जाए. I have a tool जहाँ SKU ढूंढने में मुझे 15 मिनट लग जाते हैं, मैं डालता ही नहीं, छोड़ो. So then you come back. I said, for me, we keep going back to AI, how it helps, what we do. I think for me, the most important thing is when we're talking about those ground level people, let's understand their pain points. Their pain points are, they need to be able to communicate effectively. That's one. Easily. That's the biggest. I have to be able to have the knowledge, which you said, मुझे नहीं, मेरे 10 SKUs किसको पता है क्या बेचना है. So for me, it's important that maybe one dashboard. मेरे को एक tab खोल के कितना sales को dashboard खोलना आता है, कितनों को Power BI चलाना आता है. So that training is very useful. Use AI to create your, I would say, personalized trainings. Like for Anmol, it's different. For Akhil, it's different. For everybody, it's a different training. एक campus training चलाओ, फिर उसके बाद personalize करो. Look at their problems. Go to the ground level to understand. अच्छा, they need data. They have loads of it. They need insights. मतलब मुझे 100 rows में से 3 word में उनके लिए बताना है. This is a good market. This is a good customer. This is a bad word. Don't यहाँ time मत लगाओ. यहाँ इस पर time लगाओ. I think that's what we want to do. So understanding their problems, lots of tools are there. We just we should know how to use them effectively. I think that's my point of view.
Any interesting example, when you were interacting with the customer experience, the customer representative teams on the ground that you came across that you would want to share with our audiences?
Absolutely. I started with this. So we have retailers today. The biggest problem that we were facing recently was with regards to the warranties. अभी सो मेरे पास माल आया, मैंने आई हैव टू सेल इट, मेरे पास पड़ा है, मेरे को वारंटी मिलती है, पीछे से सिग्निफाई देती है 2 साल का वारंटी. से फॉर एग्जांपल मेरा माल बिका ही 1 साल बाद. अब मैं कस्टमर को क्या दूं? 1 साल की वारंटी है, 2 साल की वारंटी, व्हाट डू आई गिव? क्योंकि मैं तो 1 साल पहले सामान खरीद लाई थी. इट इज विद मी, इट्स लाइंग विद मी, आई वाज नॉट एबल टू सेल इट. व्हाट डू आई डू देन? That's when we thought, oh, this is a huge problem. वो माल वापस आता है, उनका बिकता नहीं है. Tomorrow that retailer will not do business with us. Lots of such problems. We said, let's make it digital. We give you a QR code. The moment you sell your product, scan it, your warranty starts on that day. Simple. So there is that, ये 2 साल का पीछे आना है, मेरा माल पड़ा है, नहीं बिक रहा है, warranty expire हो गई. Nothing like that.
So just to add it, so you're saying the earlier warranty card लिख के stamp करना has become digital,
Absolutely.
initiated by the retailer.
Absolutely. So it's initial. So they were not happy. So then we thought of a way out. We said, let's get them something. We got them this tool. We said, only scan it. put it in the system. You must be having that stock for what, a year and a half, but your warranty starts the day you sell it, and then you can give it for 2 years, and we are happy to live by that warranty.
And that's more secondary data.
That's all secondary data. Yes. So I think that's a very small example,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it helped
Correct.
tremendously.
Correct. Yeah. So Akhil, what? Yeah, please.
No, for us, I'll totally agree with her. Even in our organization also, there is a challenge which kind of we face in terms of punching in the right data in the tool itself. So I'll just quote you one or two examples. So some time back, we also kind of created a kind of or took an initiative which was known as Google My Business. So basically, what we did is that we have around more than 200 to 300 platinum stores, which we call at our organization. We kind of mapped all the stores that we have across India to the Google Maps itself and listed them on the Google itself. So what we did is that not only listing, we also did the SEO, search engine optimization, for each and every store. So for example, if Devesh is going somewhere and then he wants to kind of visit a offline retail store, and if he searches on Google, let's say JBL store near me, then Google will kind of throw in the data that this is the nearest store to you and you can visit that data. So what we did is that we kind of created a tool for all the salespeople or the regional salespeople, and we initially hoped that we are making lives easier for those salespeople, but that was not the case. So there were multiple trainings or multiple sessions that we had to do for all the salespeople, and then I would say probably it took us an year or so to kind of get everyone accustomed to the tool and everything, how they can use the tool for the sales. Yes.
Adoption is an issue.
Yeah.
Adoption is a big issue. आप कुछ भी ले आओ eventually. Adoption के लिए, because the ground realities of people creating the tools versus the people using the tools is very, very different. Sensibilities are different, right? So I think adoption is an issue.
And I think salespeople's question is, भैया मुझसे data लो कि मुझे ही डांटोगे आप.
Why should I? This is true, Arun. हम लोग का प्रॉब्लम होता था कि डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स या वो डेटा नहीं डालते. क्यों नहीं डालते? Because eventually one is who why bother, the second is I don't want you to know my data, the third is for sales. अच्छा मैंने ये नहीं किया, अब वो SKUs डाल रहे हैं, मैंने एक ही तरह का, because मुझे मेरी सर्च में सबसे ऊपर वही SKU आता था, मैंने पूरा ऑर्डर वैसे SKU पे डाल दिया. But that's not right? So rather than I start putting in data, क्योंकि so for me things were difficult to do, I didn't do it. So you're right. I think adoption of anything takes a while, I guess.
So with your experience, Arun, how do we solve this? How do you help brands solve this problem of adoption?
Good example is your CRM or so people hate CRMs because one is
that's what I've heard from a lot of marketers.
That's like, see, because CRM is like when you start off, it's like a marketing digital person's dream, because I have all the right data, I can do correlation mentally, you've done all the mapping, and then all you see is junk data. So and
lot of neutral comments instead of positive and negative. Nothing, can't make sense of anything.
Yeah, because and you do all this and then you'll kind of go back and see, a lot of systems are also not geared. I mean, slight side off before this. For example, when with one of our leading customers, they did an analytics tool. And then it didn't work. Why? Because the analytics tool didn't factor that was last year Diwali was November, this time it's September end. So your forecasting, etc. It's like, I mean, you had to make amends for it because the tool doesn't work on, let's say, lunar calendar. It works on like whatever. So the point is, do you have the right data, and who's going to give the right data? Any subjective data comes from sales guy, and their question always is that was why should I do it? But even before that, see, this is our understanding. Okay, so most people in life, at least in India, and US is very different. Nobody ever wants to be in sales. You ask any child today, nobody will say, "Bhai, sales karna, dhanda karna." Maximum people will say, "I'll do business," but that sales is like considered a bad word. It's like you say you're sales, that means you're one of those cheaters out there. Is the general perception. So sales, marketing, I mean, when I did my MBA and I said, boss, I'm looking for something in marketing, my mom is like, so you'll be like this Eureka Hope sales guy selling this thing. And I'm like, no mom, that's tech. I mean, they are right, but that's not marketing. But it's considered it has a very bad connotation. And most people in sales, again, this is, you can say empirical, is most people did something, they studied, they wanted to do something, they wanted to try something, they didn't get what they want, the only job they got was in sales, so the career starts. And some people do very well, let's say probably 5 to 10% people do really well, they climb up the ladder, but the rest of the people are hanging in there because, you know, their career options are limited, they are in sales, etc. So, given that, you know, that it's not something that's really exciting you and, you know, it's not something that you really look forward to every day. What is the ask of them? You're saying कि बस ये product समझो, ये data entry करो, and what is the data entry used for to kind of screw your happiness? I'll ask you, why didn't you do 5 things? You might have done 7 things, but वो तो करना ही था आपको. So what we realized is, can we give salespeople something where they are not being monitored per se? Of course, you're kind of trying to gather analytics from everything, but can I give them something that they can use to sell to their customers and impress on customers without an expectation that they would use it? Because if that is the case, I know it sounds very cliche that if people start liking and using it, you know, the tool stays. And for us as a model, again specifically in India as a SaaS model, the question always is, यार मैं खुद क्यों नहीं बना सकता हूँ? So our question always is that no, unless you show that people are using it, adopting it, and we are evolving, we are out. So we focused on that thing, saying how can I enable this seller to come across as an expert in front of the client? Because while if I come and tell them कि boss you have to look like an expert, they'll be like हाँ बस सब कुछ पता है. But deep down you know that boss, if I can use something which puts me as an expert, then I'm going to kind of start using it. And that is where our focus is on saying was, how do you give them something that they can use in front of a customer without being ashamed? And to me, that's like, you typically have marketing collateral which is too high level, which has a lot of information, and then you have training content which is too simple and too long. And what we say is that you need to have another kind of collateral called sales collateral, which moves the needle in a conversation. So we focus on helping these people with sales collateral, which means at the time of conversation, what do you do? Because when a customer comes in and says, boss, iska wattage kya hai? You can't say, sir, brochure mein na 4th page, 2nd column niche ye number hai. As a customer, when I'm coming to you, I have specific questions. I want specific answers. So how are you able to help them give specific answers? And our other point that is work for all our clients is, we say, don't just give answers, help this seller document these answers and send it across to the customers on WhatsApp, for example. So the idea is that as a client, clients are happy because irrespective of my seller, my customer hears what I want them to hear and sees what I want them to see. And seller is happy because, boss, I've come across as expert, I've answered all their questions. So the propensity that they'll buy from me is high, because the other challenge with seller also is that, I mean, see, we sitting here may look at brands, you know, but a seller looks at saying, was मेरा commission आया क्या? मेरे नाम पे booking हुआ? Because if the same JBL, let's say instead of one showroom, they go and get it from another showroom. JBL के लिए कुछ फर्क नहीं है, because they've acquired the customer. But for the seller, it's like, was you have lost that business. The dealer has lost that business. So they understand it and they are like, was how can I get it? Because more than the brand loyalty and selling that brand, their thing is that मेरे नाम पे commission, how can I book it? Is the question that most people have.
Interesting. You know, so as we are, you know, as we have all discussed, you know, multiple points on, you know, how seller at the last mile are using AI. What are some of the challenges, you know, that customer representatives have, you know, and, you know, when we're designing tools, it is mostly designed to the sensibilities of, you know, the boardrooms and not to the ground realities. And, you know, as Arun told about, you know, how we can help actually these customer representatives do better. Last question to all of you is that, you know, what do you think the role of AI will be growing in the learning and training of all these people? You know, I'll begin with you.
Immense, if you ask me. The biggest positive that we get from something that is done digitally, automatically, is you are trying to mimic something that I can do, but would take me years, would take me a lot more time, a lot more people. I can take, how do you say, brains of 100 people, put it in one small software and then kind of run it, right? That's what AI is for me. So I think in terms of training, like you said, you know, what is the right training material? What is the data? So we've used a lot of things. Today we say we do a lot of scraping from Amazon to hear what are our best selling items, you know, or what is happening in the market or whatever. Now, that data could be there, how to utilize that data. And then when when you get that data, you get the insights. How do you use it to train your people? So for me, I think it's immense. Again, not just as a training tool. It's not like कि मेरा ये tool सिखाता बहुत अच्छा है because इसका content बहुत amazing content है. वो content बनाने के लिए backend से what all went into getting that content right.
Absolutely.
Right? मैंने AI को use करके कितना अच्छा scraping करके insight लिया. मैंने market से जाके कितना समझा. So for me, I think what is important is use artificial intelligence to get the right insights at all levels. Then use that data to create content. And then the content, of course, that suits your people, the mentality of a people, the sensibilities of a people. And for me, like I said, huge use, not just in training, every single department across, absolutely.
Akhil?
No, so I'll completely agree with her in the sense that it's a kind of a very evolving space. We talked about challenges in terms of not only the internal teams what we face and also the kind of the end sellers what they face. So if I have to talk about my organization, like I mentioned that we are into different categories and we have different departments also. And again, I want to reiterate what he just said, that AI has not to be used in a single department, but it has to be used in several departments. Right. For example, if I have to talk about product, so the product team has to look out which product is selling more, and then they have to collaborate with the supply and logistics team in terms of the inventory management, and then they should be in touch with the sales team also in terms of which regions are working better and which regions aren't working. So it's a very evolving space, and I think we are moving in the right direction with help of certain tools and the kind of products that we'll have. I think it's a positive story. Absolutely. It would be a positive story.
Arun, last words?
Yeah, I think possibilities are immense, and I think we'll have to, instead of asking the question saying, can AI solve world hunger kinds of very broad statements, I think it will really work if we ask small questions saying, can AI solve this small problem for me? Because I think AI is very good when you are able to define what's very, very specific problem you want to solve. And, if you have a hypothesis, you want to validate the hypothesis and you say that this is how I'm solving it, then AI works really well. But, in case we look at saying AI will transform something, I don't think we are there yet. It's like, and I think we have also seen waves of it, right? We said that internet will change everything, Web 2.0 will change everything. And I think we've seen a lot of things. Then we've also had this thing saying, but sab kuch abhi AI hi karega, sales ka kya role hai? And it's just like, the role of sales will transform, the role of people will transform, but question is, the question always is, how do you keep moving them and how do you keep pushing people to the next level is what I believe AI is going to end up doing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for sharing your insights and, helping us understand, how we can enable the phygital experiences, how we can enable the last mile customer experiences, and how it can help brands, achieve better conversions, better affinity and better influence over their customers. Thank you very much for bringing out diverse insights and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
Thank you.